Beloved, the invisible supply is always present, waiting for us to align with it. There is no lack in the universe, there is no limitation in the divine mind. There is only abundance, only wealth, only the endless river of prosperity flowing ceaselessly toward the one who dares to expect it. To declare, I will receive $80,000 this week out of nowhere, is not a reckless dream, it is a decree of faith, a word of power that compels the unseen into manifestation. The words we speak become bridges for money, and when spoken with unwavering conviction, they call forth provision from the most unexpected channels. Money does not always come through the doors you expect. It may arrive by channels you never considered, through means that appear impossible to reason. Yet faith does not ask how, it simply knows. Faith does not beg, it commands. Faith does not chase, it magnetizes. The world may insist that money comes by hard labor, by struggle, by endless sacrifice. But the higher law whispers otherwise, that when thought is aligned with divine order, when words are charged with expectancy, supply rushes in, pressed down, shaken together and running over. $80,000, this very week, is already prepared in the invisible. It exists now, though your senses cannot yet grasp it. Perhaps it shall be released through a forgotten debt repaid, an unexpected gift, a sudden opportunity, or the shifting of circumstances that bring wealth swiftly into your hands. The channels are many, but the source is one. The source is inexhaustible, and it responds instantly to the spoken word of faith. When you affirm, I will receive $80,000 this week out of nowhere, you are not pleading. You are recognizing a truth. You are commanding the unseen to take visible shape in your life. Let not doubt rob you. The moment you speak, forces are set into motion. The tide of prosperity begins to turn in your favor. Resist the temptation to ask when or how. Simply rest in the certainty that it is done. Live this week as if it has already arrived. See yourself handling the wealth. Feel the freedom it brings. Give thanks for it in advance, for gratitude multiplies the supply. Gratitude opens the gates wider and wider until the flood of abundance can no longer be withheld. Money is not wicked, nor is it elusive. It is obedient. It moves toward the one who calls it in love, not fear. It hastens to the one who claims it with confidence, not desperation. And so I say again, you will receive $80,000 this week out of nowhere. Repeat it, believe it, and watch as the unseen becomes the seen, as the impossible becomes the inevitable. The spoken word as a magnet for unexpected supply is a truth that has been demonstrated throughout the ages, though few have understood its power or dared to wield it with confidence. Words are not idle sounds, they are living forces, charged with creative energy, and every utterance sets in motion currents that either bring abundance or repel it. When one speaks words of lack, of worry, of fear, they magnetize experiences that match those vibrations, and the world obligingly delivers shortage, debt, and disappointment. But when one speaks words of wealth, words of expectancy, words that affirm unseen prosperity as though it were already visible, the very fabric of reality bends to accommodate that decree. The spoken word is the invisible architect of fortune. It calls forth that which has no form, and it commands the invisible supply to make itself known. When one declares, I will receive $80,000 this week out of nowhere, the mind may try to resist, reasoning with logic that there is no possible way. But words are not limited by reason. They transcend the narrow corridors of human calculation. Words operate in the vast, limitless field of divine intelligence, where channels exist beyond imagination. The declaration is a seed planted in the soil of the unseen, and like any seed, it must grow, it must unfold, it must press through the soil into the light. The earth does not ask how a seed will sprout, it simply allows the process. Likewise, the one who speaks wealth into being need not ask where the money will come from, for that is the business of the unseen. The only requirement is to speak with conviction, to align the spoken word with belief, and to refuse to speak against it through doubt or fear. Every word has a frequency, and the frequency of abundance attracts abundance. The frequency of wealth calls wealth, just as the frequency of poverty calls poverty. To say, I will receive $80,000 this week out of nowhere, is to send a vibration into the ethers that cannot return void. The universe's law, and it responds to words spoken with authority. It is not a matter of begging, pleading, or hoping, but of commanding, of knowing, of speaking as one who has the right to decree. Just as a king's word is law in his kingdom, so is your word law in the kingdom of your experience. When you speak with dominion, the invisible forces obey, the channels open, and money is drawn to you as iron filings to a magnet. The magnetic power of the spoken word is intensified when emotion is added to it. Words spoken coldly, without feeling, carry little force. But words spoken with fire, with joy, with expectancy, are alive. They vibrate at a higher frequency, and they draw results quickly. When one speaks wealth into being with excitement, imagining already receiving it, already touching it, already using it, the words become infused with power, and their magnetic pull strengthens. This is why affirmations must not be spoken mechanically, as though repeating empty lines, but with passion, with belief, with certainty. For the universe responds not merely to the words, but to the energy behind them. To use the spoken word as a magnet for unexpected supply, one must also guard the tongue diligently. It is of no use to affirm wealth in one breath, and then complain of lack in the next. Such divided speech weakens the current, confuses the vibration, and scatters the magnetism. The word must be consistent, steady, unwavering, and repeated until it saturates the subconscious mind. Once the subconscious accepts the declaration as true, the magnetism becomes unstoppable, and the supply must appear. The subconscious is the fertile soil in which the word is planted, and it produces whatever is sound, whether good or bad. Speak wealth, and wealth will grow. Speak lack, and lack will flourish. Therefore, the wise one watches his words carefully, refusing to give life to any utterance that contradicts the vision of abundance. There is no such thing as nowhere. What appears to come from nowhere is in fact the rearrangement of the invisible substance that surrounds us at all times. The universe is filled with unseen supply, waiting for direction, waiting for command. The spoken word gives it that command. To say, $80,000 is on its way to me now, is to summon that substance into form, to instruct it to take shape as visible wealth. And it obeys, for the word is law. The channels may surprise you. They may seem miraculous, but they are simply the result of unseen substance, taking the shape you commanded through your words. Every great teacher has spoken of the power of the word, and yet so few have practiced it. People pray without faith, they speak without belief, and they wonder why nothing changes. The secret is not in endless repetition, but in the quality of the word spoken. A single word spoken with true faith is more powerful than 1,000 words spoken in doubt. When you say, I will receive $80,000 this week out of nowhere, and you mean it, you feel it, you see it, the whole universe bends to deliver. The vibration is sent out, and it must return, for like attracts like. Even when circumstances contradict the declaration, the word must remain unchanged. Perhaps the bills pile up. Perhaps the bank account is empty. Perhaps nothing appears to move. But these are shadows, and shadows have no power over the spoken word. The word is the reality. The outer world merely lags behind. Continue to speak, continue to affirm, continue to charge the atmosphere with wealth, and the shadows must yield. The supply must appear, for the word has been spoken, and the word cannot return void. When you speak wealth, you align yourself with the very nature of the universe. For the universe is abundance. Look at the stars uncountable in number. Look at the grains of sand upon the shore. Look at the blades of grass in a single field. Everywhere life overflows, multiplies, and expands. Scarcity is not truth, it is a lie born of fear. Abundance is truth, and the spoken word aligns you with that truth. By declaring wealth, you harmonize with the natural order of the cosmos, and the cosmos delivers in kind. The spoken word as a magnet for unexpected supply is not a trick, nor is it wishful thinking. It is law. It is as certain as gravity, as unfailing as the rising of the sun. Those who dare to test it with faith find themselves astonished at how swiftly money comes, often through channels they could never have planned. The key is to speak boldly, to believe wholly, and to remain steadfast. The magnetism of the word will draw the supply, and what you declared will stand before you in the visible world, as surely as the harvest follows the seed. Faith unlocks invisible channels of prosperity. in ways the rational mind cannot begin to measure. For faith is the key that opens the unseen vaults of supply and causes wealth to flow where once there appeared to be none. To live only by sight is to walk in limitation, but to live by faith is to walk in the boundless realm, where all things are possible. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not yet seen, and when directed toward wealth, it becomes the invisible bridge across which prosperity must travel. Many look only to what they can calculate with reason, what they can touch or see, and so they limit themselves to small streams of income, narrow channels that appear logical. But the universe holds infinite channels, countless pathways through which supply can reach you, and faith alone is what activates them. Faith alone is what causes doors to swing open that the human mind could never have imagined. Faith is not mere wishing or hoping. Faith is a knowing. It is the deep, unwavering conviction that what you desire is already yours in the unseen, and that it must show up in the visible. When you declare with faith that $80,000 is yours this week, you are not begging or pleading. You are recognizing a spiritual truth, that money is already present in the invisible and that faith draws it into manifestation. Doubt is a wall, but faith is a key. Doubt locks doors, faith unlocks them. Doubt repels wealth, faith magnetizes it. To cultivate faith is to cultivate the ability to move unseen forces, to draw money out of places you could not imagine, to cause events to rearrange themselves in your favor, to cause opportunities to appear at precisely the right moment. Faith operates in the realm of expectancy. To expect is to prepare. To expect is to receive in advance. Faith does not say, perhaps it will come. Faith says, it is already mine, and I am ready for it. Expectancy opens the invisible channels wide, for expectancy is the vibration of readiness. If you expect a letter in the mail, you look for it. You prepare a place for it. If you expect company, you set a table. Likewise, when you expect money with faith, you prepare yourself to receive it, you create room for it. You act as though it were already here. This act of preparation sends a signal to the unseen, and the unseen rushes to fill the space you have made. Faith is the force that bypasses human logic. Where reason says it is impossible, faith insists it is inevitable. Reason looks to the bank account, to the paycheck, to the visible sources. Faith looks to the unseen, to the infinite supply of the universe, and knows that there are channels beyond channels, sources beyond sources. Reason says there is no way $80,000 could arrive in a week. Faith knows that money is energy, that money is obedient, that money flows through countless avenues, and that it can arrive swiftly, suddenly, even from what seems like nowhere. It may come as an inheritance, as a business deal, as a gift, as a forgotten investment, as a chance encounter, as a sudden opportunity. The form does not matter, for the source is limitless, and faith trusts the source without needing to control the channel. When faith is strong, time collapses. What might have taken years through labor and struggle can arrive in days or even hours through faith. Faith accelerates manifestation, for faith does not wait, it claims. To say, I will receive $80,000 this week out of nowhere, with faith, is to compress time, to draw near that which might otherwise seem far away. Faith gathers the substance of the unseen and quickens its appearance. Where others toil endlessly, faith achieves swiftly. This is why the one who walks in faith often sees miracles, while the one who doubts sees only delays and disappointments. Faith also silences the noise of fear. Fear whispers of lack, fear insists upon limitation, fear paints pictures of failure. But faith speaks louder, faith declares abundance, faith sees doors where fear sees walls. Faith has eyes that look beyond appearances, and ears that hear the call of supply even in silence. Fear shrinks the channels of prosperity until they appear dry. Faith multiplies them until they overflow. When you cultivate faith, you step into a current of supply that has always been flowing, but which doubt had hidden from view. Faith is not passive. It is active, it is dynamic, it is movement. To have faith in prosperity is not simply to sit idly by and wait. It is to listen to intuitive nudges, to follow inner guidance, to move boldly when an opportunity arises, to act in alignment with the declaration you have spoken. Faith does not sit in hesitation. Faith leaps when called. It knows the net will appear, it knows the path will open, It knows the door will swing wide. The invisible channels are unlocked through both word and action, both belief and movement. To declare wealth with your mouth, but to act in fear is to contradict yourself. But to declare wealth with your mouth, and to act boldly in alignment with that declaration, is to align fully with the unseen, and that alignment unlocks supply in miraculous ways. Faith transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. A simple conversation can turn into a financial opportunity. A casual meeting can become the doorway to wealth. A small decision can open the floodgates of prosperity. Faith sharpens the eyes to see opportunities that others overlook, and it gives the courage to step through doors that others fear. This is how money often appears from nowhere. Because faith has guided you to be in the right place at the right time, to say the right word, to meet the right person, to take the right step. The world may call it luck, but it is the working of faith unlocking invisible channels. Gratitude multiplies wealth before it appears, because gratitude is not merely a response to receiving. It is a creative force that draws more of what is desired into being. Gratitude is the recognition of abundance in advance, the vibration that signals to the universe that you are ready, willing, and worthy to receive. When you give thanks for money not yet in your hand, you set into motion the law of increase. For whatever you bless grows, whatever you appreciate multiplies, and whatever you give thanks for expands in your life. Gratitude is like water to a seed, causing the invisible substance of your spoken word and your faith to sprout and flourish. Without gratitude, even great blessings may wither, for ingratitude closes the channel and dries the stream. With gratitude, even the smallest token can unfold into rivers of prosperity, for gratitude keeps the gates open wide for supply to pour in. To say, I am grateful for the $80,000 that comes to me this week out of nowhere, is not to deceive yourself but to align with a higher law. It is to acknowledge that in the unseen, the money is already prepared, already moving towards you, already on its way. Gratitude sees what is invisible as though it were visible, and in doing so, it accelerates its appearance. Gratitude is not bound by time. It collapses the distance between what is spoken and what is manifested. When you give thanks in advance, you act as though you have already received, and this act of certainty magnetizes the supply, drawing it to you faster and with greater power. Gratitude changes the atmosphere around you. A grateful heart radiates a frequency that attracts wealth, while a complaining spirit radiates a frequency that repels it. To murmur about lack is to affirm lack. To speak of what is missing is to multiply its absence. But to speak of what you are thankful for, even if it is not yet seen, is to affirm its presence and to hasten its arrival. The universe mirrors back the vibration you give out, and when your words and feelings are drenched in gratitude, the universe must bring you more experiences that match that gratitude. It must bring you more money, more opportunities, more channels, more increase. For gratitude is the vibration of abundance itself. Gratitude is not only spoken in words, it is lived in action. When you are truly grateful, you carry yourself differently. You act as one who has already received. You move through life with peace and expectancy. This state of being is magnetic. People are drawn to those who radiate gratitude. Opportunities find their way to such people, and money flows easily to them, because they are aligned with the vibration of increase. Gratitude dissolves resistance. It quiets doubt, it silences fear, and it strengthens faith. In gratitude, you cease striving and begin receiving. You cease worrying and begin trusting. You cease grasping and begin magnetizing. To practice gratitude for money before it appears is to prove that you believe in the unseen. It is to prove that you know the law of supply is unfailing, that you know the spoken word will be fulfilled, that you know faith is never denied. Gratitude is evidence of true belief. For only one who believes gives thanks in advance. Those who doubt cannot be grateful, for they cannot see beyond appearances. But those who believe are grateful, because they know that appearances are but shadows, and that the substance of wealth is already theirs. Gratitude, then, is the outward expression of inward faith, the visible sign that you are aligned with the flow of prosperity. Gratitude also multiplies wealth by shifting your focus from what is missing to what is present. The more you focus on what you already have, the more reasons for gratitude you find, and the more wealth flows into your life. The law is simple: what you focus on expands. If you focus on debt, debt expands. If you focus on lack, lack increases. But if you focus on wealth with gratitude, wealth multiplies. To say daily, "I am so grateful for the $80,000 arriving this week out of nowhere," shifts your attention away from what is lacking and toward the abundance that is on its way. This shift in focus raises your vibration, aligns your energy, and draws the unseen supply into view. Gratitude is the language of acceptance. When you give thanks in advance, you signal to the universe that you have already received, that you are already in possession, and that you accept fully the blessing you have called forth. To give thanks after receiving is natural, but to give thanks before receiving is supernatural, for it bends the law of time and accelerates manifestation. This is why gratitude is a multiplier. It not only increases what has already appeared, it hastens the arrival of what has not yet appeared. It is as though gratitude unlocks the floodgates of heaven, and the supply rushes forth, because you have already acknowledged it as yours. Gratitude also carries humility, for in giving thanks, you acknowledge the source greater than yourself, the infinite supply that flows through countless channels. Gratitude admits that you are not the sole provider, but that the universe is your supply, and that this supply is limitless. Such humility dissolves pride, and in dissolving pride, it removes the barriers to receiving. For pride often insists on control, insisting that money must come only through certain channels, but gratitude loosens that grip and allows money to come through any channel, even out of nowhere. Gratitude frees you from the limitations of your own reasoning and opens you to the infinite creativity of the universe. Gratitude is also contagious. When you live in gratitude, you inspire others to do the same, and in doing so, you create an atmosphere of increase around you. People are drawn to work with you, to give to you, to bless you, because they feel uplifted in your presence. This creates even more channels for prosperity to flow, multiplying opportunities beyond what you could have arranged on your own. Gratitude creates a field of energy that draws not only wealth but goodwill, cooperation, and favor, all of which contribute to the multiplication of money in your life. To cultivate gratitude before wealth appears requires discipline of thought and word. It means refusing to complain, refusing to rehearse lack, refusing to give voice to doubt. It means choosing daily to affirm abundance, to thank the universe for money unseen, to bless your finances as though they were already overflowing. This discipline trains the subconscious mind to expect abundance, and once the subconscious expects it, abundance must appear. Gratitude imprints the subconscious with wealth, and the subconscious, being creative, manifests in kind. Gratitude multiplies wealth before it appears because it is the very vibration of abundance, the song of prosperity, the magnet that draws money swiftly and in overflowing measure. To declare in faith, and then to give thanks in advance, is to complete the circuit of manifestation. It is to speak the word, to believe the word, and then to seal the word with thanksgiving. And when this circuit is complete, wealth cannot be withheld. For the law of increase demands that what is blessed must expand, what is thanked for must multiply, and what is acknowledged must appear. Faith grows stronger with use. The more you practice it, the more you see it work, and the more confident you become. Just as a muscle strengthens with exercise, so does faith strengthen when put into action. Every time you declare wealth and see results, your faith deepens. Every time you refuse to bow to fear, your faith expands. Every time you give thanks in advance for money unseen, your faith multiplies. In this way, faith becomes a constant companion, a shield against lack, a key that forever unlocks the doors of prosperity. Faith is trust in the invisible order of the universe. It is knowing that what you decree must come to pass, because the universe cannot deny a word spoken in faith. It is knowing that money is obedient to faith, that wealth hastens to those who believe, that supply is always present, waiting only for the key of faith to open the channel. And so when you stand boldly and declare that $80,000 will come to you this week out of nowhere, and you believe it without doubt, you set in motion the unseen forces of prosperity, and those forces cannot be denied.